Hi there, my name is Shannon, and I'm Willamette Week's Music and Visual Arts Editor. I'm here today with Brian Lord of the Portland Film Office. The Portland Film Office is sort of a liaison between film productions and just the rest of the city. They do things like help navigate city bureaucracy, things like permitting, and they help connect productions with local crews and businesses. The office is composed of just Brian, so he's the one who does all of that stuff. Brian, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. But just to start out, I'm curious at what kind of capacity you're currently working at. How many productions are currently filming here in Portland compared to like a normal year?
Sure. In general, well, right now there's 10 big productions in the region, 4 specifically in Portland proper. The big challenge has been around the smaller, either the commercial production or the independent productions. But the big ones are able to function because they can afford the premium on the kind of the COVID requirements, masks, insurance, hand sanitizer. There's just a larger kind of premium on production right now that the small ones just can't make it pencil right now. So, maybe they're prepping for other things, whatnot, but the larger productions are back and in a lot of ways, even bigger than before. So, the ability to kind of help them out, get them kind of going, especially with some of the challenges that have been going on in Portland and in the world. It's not, it's amazing how this is worldwide. So, helping them there's been bigger challenges, but also, the ability to be more attentive has been good.
And when did productions start getting back up and running here in Portland? Because it seems like over the summer there was this period where there was kind of just a dead zone.
Yeah, it didn't start up. It's like from March until about August, we literally pulled, I would say, maybe 3 permits total. And usually we're closer to like 300 total permits in a variety of capacities and needs of city property. So August 1st, Chad came back. They had, it was a Turner Broadcasting production. They had 2 more episodes left to film at March, and they had to stop work completely. So they came back and filmed the last 2 episodes, August onwards. And then Top Chef came into town, and they going strong. And we have a Netflix feature right now, and then Shrill season 3 came through. So it went from nothing to pretty robust.
So since, as you said, you're not an epidemiologist, what are the sort of guidelines that you're relying on to relay information? Is it the
Sure.
OCPA or like, yeah?
Yeah, right. The Oregon Media Production Association worked really closely, getting information from the health authority through working most closely with Oregon Film to build out on the industry side guidelines, updated health and safety protocols. So it originated from within the industry. It wasn't coming from, it was in alignment with OHA, but it wasn't like the city. We didn't create a bunch of new requirements. We were listening and we were, being responsive and communicating what was out there. But the industry knew that they had to do this right, and they had to do it right from the start. That was crucial, and so very much, led the charge, and we were there in support of them. And what's great is what they created goes above kind of even what is coming out of the OHA. That the recent 2-week shutdown that we had created some requirements out of the city on Parks property for stricter guidelines, and the productions that were getting ready to use Parks property had their safety measures that they were utilizing were actually stricter. So there was no change, no impact to their production. So the industry has been taking this very seriously, and that's why we've been able to, as an industry, get back to work maybe more quickly than other industries.
And so what specifically changed to end the summer doldrums, I guess? Was it having these guidelines developed?
What happened was, once Multnomah County hit phase 1 reopening, they were ready to go. They were already preparing. It's been a weird spring and summer in that regard of there was a lot of need to prepare and there was a lot of time to prepare. So there were a lot of conversations and a lot of preparation. So as soon as the county reopened, they were able to get right back out there because they had done the preparation and because they had, both from the budgeting standpoint, from the updated protocols, they were ready to go. So that's what's great about this weird, circus comes to town kind of thing of film production is this is what they do. They're in a state of crisis. If you think about it, throughout production, what they do is like they're in this kind of steady state of crisis. They may not see it that way, but I think the point is they're ready to triage. So that said, when this happened and the shutdown occurred, they were ready to triage for what happened when we reopened.
So what are the protocols for the safety protocols for out of town productions coming here?
I think the reason why we've been able to return to work is because the amount of testing that's going on, it's quite a bit higher. I don't think they're testing every day, but they're testing several times a week, and kind of above and beyond what would be normal. I know there's been kind of some why is this industry able to go back to work and this one maybe not as quickly? It's because of some combination of the increased testing, some of the strategies. I was going to say strategies, but it's strategies. Some of the out of town productions are in this pod where the people they're around all the time, and new people don't come into the pod and they don't go out of the pod, and they travel within that pod. For the productions that are based more locally, they have kind of the zones that they're in. Zone A is where the actors are, and so everybody closest to what's on camera in that zone, and then you have the kind of the rings that go out. And so their ability to work within the smaller teams and not kind of cross-pollinate or kind of cross-germinate. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know the proper nomenclature, but their ability not to kind of interact on set with other folks who are on the crew, but they're not interacting. Those kinds of safety things are able to kind of help them keep working and keep them safe. And then of course the 6 foot distance from one another, and the various sanitizing that goes on during the course of one day, and then the daily cleaning that is going on. And some of the technologies, I'm not an expert in that either, but some of the technologies that our local vendors are starting to kind of add to their inventory around, oddly enough, like that UV lighting, which I don't profess to understand, but there's this it has these cleaning capabilities. UV light actually does have some sort of cleaning capabilities that our local vendors are able to offer to local productions. So a range, an array of kind of sanitizing that didn't go on more previously. So it's quite robust. It's been effective, and it's more expensive.
Sure. So back in spring, there was a threat that the Portland Film Office might lose its funding. Can you kind of give us an overview of what happened there?
In terms of summarizing what happened back in May, or just kind of in general? Yeah. Well, it's been a weird year. I think what happened was Commissioner Nick Fish, he was the liaison to the film office, and then he passed away in January. And there were conversations that we were having with him and his team about this idea of we're in year 3 of a 5-year kind of plan to become, economically or, financially resilient. I think that the rest of the city council were not having the same conversation, and they were under the expectation that we were within the last year of a general fund, funding of the film office. So in terms of there was a moment there of what I perceive as kind of a miscommunication in between there was a lot of other things going on. The film office was not at the top of anybody's mind at that point, and that makes total sense. We worked out, through kind of a updated communication, we kind of conveyed to the rest of City Council what we were discussing with Commissioner Fish and his team, and then we got to kind of a baseline of understanding where we're now all on the same page, and so. I think it looked very dramatic on Zoom, on screen, but it was just more. I think it was more of a technical kind of, here's what we need to do. It's an ongoing conversation in general in terms of like what that support for the film office looks like, and what we're getting out of it, and we meaning the citizens of Portland, like what is the value statement, what is the return on investment of the film office. And this was, in terms of budget challenges, that is the economy is doing what it's doing. It's 2020 has been a weird year in that regard too. I feel very. It's great to see film production, coming back so strongly. So it really, the value add of the film office, I feel like has been proven. Since that kind of budget conversation in May, the ability to help onboard these large productions and bring in the infusion of money to the economy in general, and then just the small business that it supports here in town. I think the film office has proven that it's crucial.